basketball choreography in this movie is like a dance. It's almost like a basketball ballet. It comes across high energy and amazing in their sweat.
When you nail shots and the crowd reacts, you get all that adrenaline, you feel like a real game.
Yeah, man, I mean, you're gonna see a whole bunch of alley-oops here, you're gonna see three-pointers, you're gonna see a little cockiness, behind the backs, no looks.
Basketball's awesome in this movie. I come in and tear the rim down.
When you're working in scripted material and when you have the opportunity to not only choreograph the plays, but shoot them in a number of different ways and rehearse them, and it's really liberating and it's really exciting. And our feeling is, let's shoot the action in ways that you can't really see watching a game at home on television.
We do so much more than try to make sure that our actors perform a proper jump shot. We're really involved from the initial stage of trying to find some of these actors that can pull off athletically what the script is asking for.
Mark Ellis goes out through newspapers, radio, whatever resources are available, I guess the internet now, and he puts together a tryout camp.
Make one so we can see it on camera, because I'm gonna match it.
Everybody thinks they're the greatest ball player in the world, and he starts off with this same speech every time. You know, if you weren't the best guy on your high school team, leave the gym right now, which is a very intimidating speech. Of course, nobody leaves.
Coach Ellis is quite a competitor. I met him a year ago when we played slam ball. He coached slam ball, and we played in a championship game against each other. And, you know, we was able to win that game, and he hates to lose, just like I am.
We needed about 75 great basketball players, high school type basketball players, to perform as the rest of the Richmond team and the opponent team. So our job was then to go in and get the special ability extras. Then we put together a 3-week camp.
When I did the rookie with him, we had sort of the same kind of camp, only in baseball, and where we would play a lot of baseball and really get into the game and learn the fundamentals, and then at the same time, you know, really get these plays together, choreographed properly to our strengths, you know what I'm saying, and weaknesses. He put us through a grueling regimen of running and basketball and sprints and running stairs and defensive drills and practice drills and running plays and designing these great plays that are going to come across amazing on film. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of that. But I mean, I came home sore and I needed lots and lots of sleep and lots of rest.
We're running them. We're running them. We're running suicides. We're doing push-ups. We're running through stations. We're running through condition drills.
Go crazy, making us run. Anytime somebody late. To the baseline, gentlemen. Like Coach Carter, getting us ready for shooting.
We're asking these kids to play basketball 12 hours a day. And this gym is hot.
Need to be in shape to do that. So Coach Ellis, Coach Hernando, and Amy and Cal and the rest of the team, they got us well prepared.
By the time we get to shooting, they're a well-oiled machine.
It's important that the guys they brought in had basketball skills. It's important that Coach put them through all those drills and that the kids did get in some physical condition that allows them to run up and down the court and look like they know what they're doing, that they can handle the ball.
For the most part, the ball leaves the shooter's hand and the camera follows it till it goes in the basket. We try to really minimize those quick cuts to the ball going into the basket, which, you know, is a little hokey.
One thing we always hate about watching movies, baseball movies or football movies or golf movies or anything, is watching guys who are shooting a basketball and can't shoot.
We gotta do it. This is what you guys get paid for. Let's make it done. Let's make it nice.
We work very hard and are very concerned about the credibility among the sports aficionados. If we lose those guys, it's hard to get the bigger audience. Shooting the sports is like shooting a battle scene. I mean, you have thousands of extras and a dozen or so principals who are out there, and everything has to go right.
10 takes from this angle, 10 takes from this angle. You do 15, 20 angles, you're getting up into the 500 times of running this play.
You might see 10 seconds of basketball, but we spend 24 hours working on those 10 seconds.
We're gonna get this though, baby. We're gonna get, watch this. Nice job, right there. Come in.
got 3 actors touching the ball. That's the major problem.
The great thing about Mark is not only is he steeped in the sports world, but he's now become so experienced. He totally gets what filmmaking is about. He totally understands where the camera's going to be, what looks better on film than it may look like in reality. He's a stickler for detail. He works his kids hard. They'll do it over and over and over again happily. They all want to get it right.
You should have seen my shot before we started playing. I got laughed at the first day of practice.
You know, I learned early on in my athletic career and in coaching career, repetition solves a whole lot of problems.
Don't film me on this, because I slide like a football player, I don't slide like a basketball player.
We made sure that he understood that we were going to put him in a position to succeed. And if that means repetition, coming before practice, staying after practice.
Coach Ellis and Coach Fernando stayed with me after practice every day. And we just got through it. You know, it was so embarrassing I was always pretty athletic, and I came out here and I've never played basketball before, and it was terrible.
By the time he gets done with it, he's doing more than he ever imagined being able to do.
When I make that pass, myself, I've only played like a lot of street ball. I haven't played any organized ball, so I had to learn the fundamentals again. Because I want really come off. I want Timo to really come off like a really strong ball player.
What is it, Saturday night in LA? Y'all ain't got shit else to do, I know that. Stop. None of y'all got girlfriends anyway.
Coach Ellis comes in, he's a hard ass. He wants things done. He don't care if you're acting, he don't care where you come from, he don't care about your background or anything like that. It's his way or the highway.
This has been 12 hours already. We can do this, right? I didn't lie to him, right? Let's go full speed.
He's hard nails. I kind of like that personally, though, because I like a coach, like when I played basketball in high school and the college level, I like a coach that's hard-nosed. You respect him more.
By the time we started breaking down the script, there were over 70 plays to be learned. You cannot go in, give the kids a basketball and let them play and hope that you're going to get it. You only have a very short period of time to shoot the action and tell the story, and you better very quickly have a well-oiled plan and be a well-oiled machine going into a shooting day.
By doing the pre-visualization, what we've done here is the gym that we're at right now, and what I've done is scanned in the drawings from Coach Ellis and have animated the players so that they're doing the exact same thing. So they're passing the ball to and from each other. The animation's rough, but it's definitely he passes it to this guy, and then this guy lays it up.
Sort of taking storyboarding to the next level. You could sort of see all your angles and motion in 3D models in the computer.
We can test different kinds of lenses, so here's a wider angle lens, and you could actually just kind of come up and get a really cool shot looking down the net.
So there you go. I'm watching. Then you take it.
This was one of the camera compositions that I worked on with Thomas, and he decided that he liked that. So we know that it's a 27mm lens, and that from the intersection of the half-court line to the sideline here, it's over 2 feet and up 13.5 feet, and we'll get that exact camera composition. So that's what we're doing. So it's basically a way of storyboarding it, but in 3-dimensional form.
Once we evaluated each actor and really took a look at their strengths and weaknesses, then had a conversation with each one of them and said, what is it that you see your character doing on the court? What's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? What kind of player is this guy?
I'm a defensive person. That's kind of how they've modeled my character. Cruz, he shoots threes. Kenyon dunks and shoots threes. Damian is just a hustler. You know, he just hustles and hustles and hustles.
You got Antoine Tanner, who can definitely play basketball as well. He shoots threes. And you have Junior Battle, who jumps out the gym, who's played by Nana. I mean, Jesus.
Junior dunks on everything and everyone.
Playing basketball on the screen and playing basketball in real life is totally different. One aspect was the dunks. In a real game, you might get like 3 or 4 dunks in a game. But here, we dunk about, man, like between 40 and 50 times. So that blew my mind.
Let's go!
I think the basketball scenes look extremely real, and we have some really good athletes. And in casting this movie, the people they cast are so close to the original players. I mean, in their personalities and things. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
They mixed up the shades of
Ebony and Ivory.
The boys, I hug them and I hit them in the chest, and just like I do my team, and they are my team. You know, Sam just happened to be coaching them now. I was the all-time leading scorer at Richmond High School, all-time leading steals and assists. Sports was my life. But along the way, I met some very good people when I was in college, and they just showed me a different way. From the neighborhood I came from, all the people who had all the nice things basically was doing things on the other side of the law. And once I got a chance to get some exposure outside of my little small world, I started to see other people with the same thing. I'm going, I kind of like to be like that guy. When I first took the job at Richmond High School, they basically had no nets on the goal. They had no shoes. They had no socks. 50% of all the student athletes who entered Richmond High School never graduated. They was almost dead last academically in the state of California.
Yeah, Richmond High School needs a lot of attention. I mean, it's a lot going on there. They're taking the sports out the school right now. I mean, it really do, because a lot of kids, despite the fact it's not a great athletic school, it still got kids in there who wants to be somebody.
2 weeks ago, the school board shut down all the athletic programs in Richmond because the taxpayers didn't vote for a referendum that would have given money from the taxes into the schools to fund athletic programs. So there are no more athletic programs in the school system in Richmond.
I'm not saying this is not going to be a challenge.
As I was coming back to the old gym, and I thought I was going to get this warm welcome because my name is on the All-American board, and the kid was just like, please, you're dressed in a suit and tie?
Still holds records for scoring, assists, steals.
You look like a preacher.
Are you some preacher man or some shit? Because God ain't going to do you no good in this neighborhood.
Well, I live in this neighborhood, sir.
Sir, can you believe this uppity Negro? Sir.
You really are going to need God if you think you're going to come here and make us act like you act and say yes, ma'am, and no, sir. That's not happening.
Sometimes I felt like he was too serious, you know, like, you know, you coming at me wrong. You know, I mean, I didn't like him.
He was just hard-nosed. If you didn't do what he said, that was it. You're not playing, or you're going to do 100 push-ups for every time you talk back to him. So he was just mean.
Coach Carter tried to make me play JV. I was a sophomore in high school, better than half our varsity basketball team. I wasn't about to play JV.
When it comes to stuff like this and basketball, he's real serious, suit and tie type of guy.
On game day, you're going to wear a tie, and you're going to wear a white button-down shirt, and you're going to wear your sports jacket, although you don't play. It's as simple as that.
I'm going to give you contracts. If you sign and honor your side of them, we are going to be successful.
Damn, do I get a signing bonus for signing this contract?
Yes, sir. You get to become a winner.
When I first seen the contract, I was like, I'm not signing this. What are you gonna do for me? Are you gonna go to war for me? Are you gonna, you know, if I'm being done wrong in the classroom, are you gonna go tell my teacher she's wrong? Are you, if I'm being done wrong by a referee, are you gonna tell him he's wrong? You know, if a fan threw a punch at me, are you gonna be the coach to come over there and help me, or are you gonna be the coach to sit there and just watch?
Each player signed a contract with me, personal contract, and their parent had to sign it also. And so, out of the 10 things on that contract for student athletes, only one of them related to basketball. Just one thing. Everything else was academic goals and personal goals they wanted to achieve.
Is there anybody else who's not feeling this contract?
Unfortunately, 3 of the best kids in our program walked out of the gym. Never played for me.
I don't do high school contracts. Tell us when you meet the real ballers.
I will do that, sir.
They would walk by me and they go, when you want to win, call us. I said, I will call you when I need you. I never made the call.
There goes our 2 leading scorers from last season, man.
Then I guess we'll have new leading scorers this season, huh?
My dad took the Richmond job over at Richmond, and I just happened to be on campus one day, and they had the All-American blankets out, and then they had the record books out or whatnot. And I was just looking through them or whatnot, and my dad was the last McDonald's All-American that went there. And he was also the all-time leading scorer, assists, and steals record leader. So when I went home that night, it was like, I can go to this school, and, you know, be with my friends and be comfortable, or I can go to this school and do something great, something that hasn't been done in, 25 years.
20-year contract, sir. I've amended that contract. You require your players to maintain a 2.3 grade point average. I've committed to maintaining a 3.5.
He sat there himself, restructured my contract, withdrew himself from private school, called Richmond High, enrolled himself in Richmond High, and that night when I came home, he had took care of all the particulars.
The second page is a letter you need to sign that confirms my withdrawal from St. Francis. They know I'm leaving.
What? You withdrew from St. Francis?
I called Richmond. They expect me there in the morning.
I had worked many hours to improve not only my standard of living, but my son's standard of living. And so we could at that time afford to live on the other side of the tracks, per se, and go to a better school. And, like any other parent, I wanted the best education for my son.
All I want to do is play for you. If I'm one of the top students at Richmond, one of the top in the whole school, and I have great SATs, I can go to any college in the country. I'm asking you to trust me.
And he's just like, Dad, all we need is your signature on this. And if I don't, I keep over a 3.5, then you have the right to do whatever you have to do.
Okay. Part of growing up is making your own decisions and living with the consequences.
I got punished the same way anybody else would. If I was late to practice, I had to run too. I had to do push-ups too. I got yelled at too.
To have the love he has with Damien, about being around him, spending a lot of time with him, has taught me a little bit about what I need to have on my son. Not so much that I want to coach my son when he gets a little older, but I just want to be close to him and, we be able to talk about anything. And, watching Coach Carter and Damien together, it really has given me an insight on what a father can be and should be.
Faith has it that, he ended up going to Richmond High School. I ended up being the coach, and he ended up breaking all of my records that I had set years ago. To be successful, you need help. And so I wanted them to start seeing the team and the love that a family has. And it comes from my 7 sisters. I was one of the most nurtured kids in America.
I distinctly remember growing up, way back in Mississippi. And I can say that I'm actually proud of it now that I'm here in California and most of the family is here. There's one thing that I don't see here a lot, and it's close-knit families. And if one needs, everybody gets together and gives.
Coming from a family with 7 girls in it, he tends to be slightly more aggressive and sensitive to things than most other people. And he brought that to his coaching sensibility.
I love my teammates to death. Now, me and my coach didn't always get along. I got kicked out of practice about 100 times a year. But, my love for my teammates will never stop. Even now, I still love them to death.
Our kids was just riding on cloud 9. This team was the best start in our school's history. We were 13-0. And we was undefeated on all three levels, the freshman, the junior varsity, and the varsity.
I remember one time in the game, we had, I was like, slow it up. And he had called a timeout and he chewed me out, slow it up. I say what, when we gonna slow it up? We ain't slowing it, we was already up by 20 points. He said, we gonna go get him. He called out and the very next play we ran, slam dunk, press the ball, come back, and just, I think we went on a 12-0 run after that.
The community had signs in the windows and stores, Go Allers, Richmond High's #1. I mean, you go into the local barber shops, you don't have to pay for your haircut now. I mean, our kids were like celebrities. They was like rock stars in the city. Everywhere you went, they was talking about Richmond High basketball. And the community just embraced this team.
The day we got locked out the gym, me and a teammate of mine walked to the gym like we would normally do for practice. We seen chains on the door and we seen a note saying we're all Richmond High basketball players to the library. So I'm thinking in my mind, what the heck does he want to talk about now? I'm tired of hearing you talk. And he said, we're locked out the gym. Now I'm thinking in my mind, like, who you think you is, the NBA commissioner? News reporters running up to us, oh, how do you feel? Was your grade point average up? Why do you think the coach did it? And do you applaud your coach or do you disagree with him? And I'm like, oh man, it just came at me just too much, too fast.
When he came in and telling me about how the kids were failing in school, I really was 100% by his side because I know how I felt when one of mine didn't do so well in school, Of course, I treat them a little different, but there's a little different technique that really works out.
Our kids just wasn't being good citizens. Our school district requires a 2.0 to play basketball in our district to be eligible. All our kids had met that standard, period. They was all eligible, as far as the school district says. But in our contract that they signed, a personal player contract with me, which the mother signed or the parent signed, the coaching staff signed, and the player signed, stating that they would at least carry a 2.3.
You snake. No, miss me, snake. Mr. Carter, you remember me? Now, after all the things that my son has been through for your team, for you to go and lock up this gym like this, how dare you?
Of course, his heart was broken too that kids were failing in school. I said, there's going to be a lot of people angry at you, which was. And being a mother myself, wow, why would they do it to my kids?
That's just the way I was born. My mother, when she would leave, she would put basically one person in charge. But if any of us got in trouble, she punished all of us.
I already got a 2.8. And I'm sitting on a 3.0 coming into next semester, so what do I need to work on my grades for?
It was like, I'm working hard to keep my stuff together and I gotta sit out, but, we win as a team and you lose as a team, so we might as well be locked out as a team also. I was mad because I was like, why can't just the ones that are passing play and the ones that aren't passing not play? Just like, that's how the football team does it. If you're not eligible, you don't play.
Yeah, I wasn't into it. I really wasn't into the lockout. I was like the bah humbug, Uncle Scrooge.
Dixon was the maddest player. He was just pissed off like crazy because, that's what we live for, the game. We live for game day.
I was prepared to forfeit the entire season, period. Because we've had so many kids athletically to grow up in Richmond and all the inner cities. And 65% of all inner city kids think they're going to play some type of professional sport. And I've seen those broken dreams from my friends, from people who went before me. And I'm just thinking, I want more for these kids. When the coach has a higher standard for academics than the school board, we have a problem.
College. That's a viable option for all of you. But you have to perform in the classroom to have that chance. You have to have a vision.
I would tell people, I said, if you're looking for your kid to go to pro, I'm the wrong coach. But if you're looking for your kid to get into college, I can help them get into college.
Even a lot of guys my age or whatnot, you know, they kind of put school to the back burner. You know, and that everybody doesn't make the NBA or the NFL. And they don't understand that. You know, it's like, I'm gonna make it, and if I don't make it, then life is over. But it's not like that.
As coaches, the game is not about us. It's about the kids. And they were going, are you crazy? They said, you're going to lose your job, basically. You're going to lose your job. You have an undefeated team. You're going to win state. And you're going to mess it all up. And the parents were the bigger problem because they thought that now their kid could go directly from high school to pro.
I have scouts coming to watch my boy play. These boys are 16 and old. This whole school, this whole community is behind this team. Everybody goes to every game. Basketball's the only thing that these boys have got. Now, are we gonna let Carter come in here and take that away from them? I don't think so. I
would have been fired, but the following morning, I was on the Today Show with Katie Couric. So now this story is national. And our own governor didn't even know that at the time, when one of his aides said, he was in Washington, D.C. at the time, it was Governor Gray Davis, he was at a governor's conference or something, and he said, you hear about this great story that happened, this coach locked this undefeated team out in Richmond because of their grades. And he thought they was talking about Richmond, Virginia, because he was so close. And he went, no, he's in your state. And so, by the way, the governor did come back when the kids earned their way back on the court. Governor Gray Davis came to our first game.
What I found most interesting about the lockout was that he really didn't have the support of the so-called educators. I mean, the board voted to end the lockout, and by and large, the parents of the kids were aghast and against what he was doing. And you know, it really made for strange bedfellows. It really made for an interesting examination of kind of what everybody was about. The governor, Gray Davis, he used the lockout as a photo op, and he came down and he put his arm around Coach Carter and he talked about, you know, we need more heroes in our inner cities like Coach Carter. And Rush Limbaugh embraced Coach Carter. The media frenzy was extraordinary. I mean, he's still a media hero in the Bay Area 5 years later.
So today I want to open our 5th year anniversary, and thank you all for being here. And I'm just going to moderate this event and help it move along so that our student athletes and young men can get on the court. So, with no further ado.
Good afternoon, everyone.
When the lockout happened, I was the one sitting in the back. I didn't want to be in nobody's camera. When they're in the room doing the library stuff, I'm sitting at the library door just because I had to be there, looking like I don't want to be here. I don't. You know, but now I guess you could say we're able to talk. We're able to have a decent conversation and actually talk as grown men instead of I don't like you and you don't like me. But I guess you could say we don't like each other because we're too much alike.
The 5 young men who sitting at this table here, they are the reason that we are here, to celebrate their success.
I am now at Occidental College in Los Angeles, and after I graduate, I want to go to medical school and become a cardiologist.
Right now I'm at Cal, and after that I want to go to medical school and practice optometry.
I play for ABA team, American Basketball Association, team called the Las Vegas Rattlers.
I got an associate's degree in business. I'm moved on to University of New Orleans. I'm majoring in hotel, restaurants, and tourism.
I'm currently going to Humboldt State. I'm transferring to San Francisco State. I'm going to get my degree in sociology.
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna test you guys' memory at this time. Oh Lord, we're gonna start off in Candy. We're gonna start off in Candy and run motion.
These boys that you hear about, Courtney Anderson, Wayne Oliver, Chris Gibson, Damian Carter, Marvin Miranda. When you hear these kids' names being mentioned in Richmond, you're going to see them on city council seats. You're going to see them as doctors. You're going to see them as lawyers. And you know what? In the beginning of all this, sir, people would say, Coach, you shouldn't set those type of expectations for those kids because they're going to fail. 5 years later, I'm able to say, you know what? all of them are succeeding, and that's a very good thing.